Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Julie Ambani, commonly known as Jules, and on this channel we talk about books, literature, development, and a sprinkle of other things here and there. If that sounds like your cup of tea, please consider subscribing to this channel and giving this video a thumbs up. And yeah, let's go. So in today's video, I'm just sharing a brief experience of how I found listening to audiobooks to be like, as well as maybe a small book review for the 2 books I listened to on audiobooks. So the app that I've been using to listen to the books is called Scribd. I find it to generally be a good application. The interface is great. There's a lot in terms of the books that they have there. The only downside is that there is no African literature, especially for the audiobooks. I found a few in ebook format, but for audiobooks I didn't find any that I was looking for at that moment. So yeah, that's a bit of a disappointment, considering that sometimes I might actually want to listen to some African literature books. But all in all, it's a good app. I would recommend it. And yeah, I'm currently on the trial period. I didn't subscribe to it yet because I wanted to know, is it worth it? What am I getting into? But I think I might eventually subscribe to it. The amount per month is around 800 to 900 Kenyan shillings. I'm not too sure, so make sure you do the research first before subscribing to it. But it's super great. And if you use someone who is on Scribd, if they share with you their link and you use their link to subscribe, you get 2 months free, and they also get 2 months free. So that will be a good way to see if you actually enjoy the app and if you will stick with it. But I recommend it. The 2 books that I chose to listen to are The Spanish Lie Deception and Fake It Till You Bake It. I decided to go with the contemporary romance genre for my first experience with listening to audiobooks that are not non-fiction, because contemporary romance is light, it's easy, it's a genre I love. I used to read it a lot, but for reasons that I was heavily reminded of as I was listening to these books, I kind of stopped listening to reading contemporary romance. But it was fun listening to them. I actually feel like I'll more or less be listening to them as opposed to getting the physical copies. What was my experience like? I liked it. Honestly, I was quite surprised that I was following through with the story and enjoying. That was one of my concerns when it came to audiobooks. Like, maybe my concentration span will not be enough for me to follow through, but it was nice. It was actually a good background, especially when I was doing some working or cooking. I really loved that. One thing that really surprised me, maybe, and it's because of my ignorance, was the fact that it's one person who narrates everything. So I maybe mistakenly assumed that if there's like a male character and a female character, we will have 2 narrators. Is this normal? Does this happen? I don't know. That's just what I assumed. So you can imagine my surprise when it was just one narrator narrating both the female characters and male characters. Honestly, some bits were a bit weird, especially considering it's a romance book. Honestly, if there's a way we could get just male narrators to come and be the male voices, that would be highly appreciated. But other than that, I found it interesting. I was so happy to discover that I can increase the pace or the speed of the narration, because I was listening, at first I was just listening at the normal pace and I was like, my god, these people are talking so slowly. But you can increase the speed and the conversation goes faster. So I was listening to mine at 1.2 times speed, and I loved it. Am I comfortable in reading like deeper books that are not like contemporary romance, like fantasy? I don't know yet, but I plan on trying. This month's fantasy book club read is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, and I plan on listening to it as I read along to the book, so that will help me gauge whether or not it's suitable. But I see a lot of my friends, Harriet, Claire, earlier, they listen to audiobooks for almost any genre, so I'm ready to give it a try. But so far, it's okay. I don't mind it. I think I'll be back with a better feedback once I've read, let's say, 10 books on audiobooks as to what I truly feel about it, because I've only read one genre and I've only read 2 books. Listen to, guys, I just mean listen to, but I'll be back with an opinion. Now, on to the book reviews of the 2 books that I read, which I have thoughts, guys. So, the first contemporary romance book that I read is called The Spanish Lie Deception by Elena Almas. Yes, this book, I read it because it was so hyped. Everyone said it's so good. It was on the Goodreads top list of romance books. Honestly, I had very high expectations, but my lesson has been learnt. Those people over there who hype this book on TikTok really need to be held accountable, because no way. It was a deception indeed. A deception that it was good. I'm not saying it was completely bad, but like, I've read better books. I'm so glad I listened to this, that I didn't actually get a physical copy, because I would have felt the pain. I'll just read you a brief summary of like what the book is about based on Goodreads. Catalina Martin desperately needs a date to her sister's wedding, especially since her little white lie about her American boyfriend has now spiraled out of control. Everyone she knows, including her ex and his fiancé, will be there and eager to meet him. She only has 4 weeks to find someone willing to cross the Atlantic and aid her in her deception. New York to Spain is no short flight, and her raucous family won't be easy to fool. Enter Aaron Blackford, her tall, handsome, condescending colleague, who surprisingly offers to step in. She'd rather refuse. Never has there been a more aggravating, blood-boiling, and insufferable man. But Catalina is desperate, and as her wedding draws nearer, Aaron looks like her best option, and she begins to realize he might not be as terrible in the real world as he is in the office. This book, first of all, this book was too long. If you read a lot of contemporary romance, you know there's always a formula for how this story will go, especially this enemy to lover thing. People will be enemies, then they'll be friends, lovers, then there'll be an issue that will make them wakosane, then they'll split ways, then they'll come back again and happily ever after. For a book that I felt you could already tell what the premise was, I felt that this book was too long. Yes, I listened to it and still I felt that it was too long. And when I looked up how many pages it was, I was surprised. 500 plus pages? What? This should have been 300 pages max. The book was interesting. I had high hopes for it, especially because it's Spain. I love Spain. It's somewhere I would love to go. I love that culture. I love it. I love their music. I love their food. So I was a bit disappointed that this was not brought out more in the book. And honestly, I don't know how to explain myself, but like, this book was just not it. The characters had nothing extremely good happening to them. Aaron was just a very strange, too perfect character. Like, he was just too perfect, and we all know nothing like that exists. Catalina, on the other hand, was just too insecure. Like, I know, yes, you've been hurt before, but I was quite surprised at her reasoning, considering she says she's 28 years old. I'm 28 years old and I don't reason like that. I was quite surprised. She was self-sabotaging in the highest extremes ever. The conversations and arguments that these two were having were so immature, in my opinion. Like, I feel like Twilight had a better thing going on. Edward and Bella had better conversations, and they were 17 years old. So I was really disappointed. There's a few things I had issues with in the book. Like, I've mentioned the weird conversations, the self-sabotaging. Also, there's a lot of things happening in this book. For example, trigger warnings. There's like food, what is it called? food, I don't want to call it a disorder, but weird relationships with food, where, for example, Catalina did not eat for such a long time until she passed out. There was harassment in the workplace, where Catalina is a female engineer in a company that's mostly male dominated, and there's a particular colleague who will make her do specific works just because she's a woman, and will make all sorts of sexist comments. And for Aaron, who claims to have loved Catalina since the word go, to sit in such meetings and not say anything, that's a red flag to me. Like, how are you comfortable with another man talking to me like that, yet you claim you really liked me from the word go? I also found it a bit suspicious that Aaron just decided, the stories that Aaron overheard Catalina and her best friend talking about this wedding, and that she had no date, and he decided to offer up his services, talking about, you need me, I'll be your date, you need me. He said you need me so many times, and I just found it weird. Like, for two grown-ups, if you like someone and you've worked with them for, I don't know, 2 years, you could have easily just approached them and asked them out on a date. I really don't understand. I really also don't generally understand this enemy to lovers thing. Who is an enemy? An enemy is a person who is actively opposed or hostile to someone or something. I don't know, for a trope that's so popular, how many enemies do we have as humans? I don't have enemies. I don't understand this enemies to lover thing, especially when you consider what they were, the thing that even made them enemies. No. I don't know who the target audience for this book was, but it can't have been grown-up adults. I was severely disappointed. Moving on, the second book I read was Fake It Till You Bake It, and it's a book by Jenny Wesley, and I'll read for you a brief of what the book is about. Jada Townsend Matthews is the most reviled woman in America after turning down a proposal on a reality dating show. When she comes home to lick her wounds, Jada finds herself working at San Diego's newest cupcake bakery, Sugar Blitz, alongside the uptight owner and professional football player Donovan Dell. When a reporter mistakenly believes Jada and Donovan are an item, they realize they can use the misunderstanding to their advantage to help the struggling bakery and rehabilitate Jada's image. Faking a relationship should be simple, but sometimes love is the most unexpected ingredient. Another fake dating trope. This one was coming, reading it after just having finished the Spanish Love Deception. This one was actually quite better. The characters were more mature, considering they were younger than the Spanish Deception. The story was good. Towards the end, it again became the normal standard cliche things. Guys, we have to talk. Why are authors always writing female characters that have these weird self-esteem issues and insecurities that makes them self-sabotage in everything that they do? Where is the book about the male characters with the self-esteem issues? Why is it always these female characters who seem not to know what they're doing in this life, and who seem to just be settling for things that can be considered the bare minimum, and who seem to just don't believe they're worthy of love? And I'm so it's in a humor, it's bothering me, because almost all books I've read about a female character, it's the female character who's on a journey to, I don't know, healing, and this man comes and shows her how to be loved, how that she is worthy of love. And I'm not saying that's bad, but like, what? I need a different type of romance book, guys. I need to read a book that people are actually self-aware of who they are and what they deserve, and they're not self-sabotaging because they feel they don't deserve love. I mean, where's the book about the confused man who a woman helped to realize they are worthy of love? Like, I know they're there, but then it's just like, for contemporary romance, there's this thing that the female lead character must just have some insecurity and sabotage her way through the relationship, and then later, once this guy has gone, she has this realization that, oh, he was the one who was making me happy and completing me. I'm tired. I retire. Guys, I need recommendations of romance books that are actually worth my time. that are actually good. I'm not saying Fake It Till You Bake It was good. It was a good story. I genuinely enjoyed it until it got to that part towards the end where I didn't even see that coming, because everything was just going well. Yes, I expected like a conflict somewhere, but I don't know what's going on. Why are these books being written like this? I'm just so disappointed with this whole the man must be the one to teach you how to love yourself thing. And I'm not even trying to be preachy or anything. We've all had our fair shares of character development and self-sabotage, but are these the only books or the only kind of literature we'll get in contemporary romance where it has to be this same path that's being taken? I don't know. I need recommendations of unique and strong female leads who know what they're about, who won't self-sabotage. I feel like that will be a refreshing change for me. And also now I feel like I've rambled past what I originally wanted to talk about, and I've just said my own things, but basically that's just how I feel. And that was my thoughts on these two books that I read. I gave the Spanish Lie Deception 3 stars out of 5, and genuinely that's just because I was listening to it and the narrator was good. If I was reading this book as a physical copy, I would have DNF'd it because it's too long for such a basic story. I rated Fake It Till You Bake It at 4 stars. I almost gave it 3.5 stars, but it was a good story. It had representation because the characters are actually Black. I loved that. I loved that they showed that unapologetically, and I loved the story in general. It was a bit unique, I've never read anything else like that. I was just only disappointed when it came towards the end, like the last third of the book. It became too predictable, it became unsatisfying, but it was overall a good book. But yeah, I actually think I'll keep listening to more and more contemporary romance books just to find a unique one. I'm even about to make it a challenge to myself. Like, I'll listen to them until I find one that I find that's super good. And I don't know what's happening with these new releases. Back in the day, I used to read contemporary romance. I used to find them to be so unique and interesting and rate them highly. I don't know what's happened. Nowadays, I'm just finding strange books that are overly hyped for no clear reason. Guys, I'm not even being a hater. I just want better books. I want better books. So if you have recommendations of super good books, please let me know. And before I continue on with my rant, I think I'll just say that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you've listened to me till this far, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.